G'day guys, welcome back to another video from commentary from a national champion. Sorry that it's been so long again, I just get busy, you know how it goes. But we're back now, and so I thought I would cover the match between Nick Rodriguez and Victor Hugo. I've not actually seen it, so it should be exciting. Let's get into it. So the match starts with a guard jump. Straight away, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest with you. What is on my screen right now? So Nicky Rod comes in, does like a little crouch, and there's no attempt to even wrestle. It's just like lazy jump guard. That's fine. And I like the decision making by Victor Hugo here to where's my screen going? There it is. To open that guard, because it's very difficult, you know, to establish a closed guard when you're this far away. You know, look how far away his hips are. And he's never going to lock that guard at the back. So I quite like this idea behind, like, well, he tries, but look how far low down, like past the hip line, the knees are as well. It's very hard to off-balance your opponent from here, especially when there's not that much friction, and they're like actively pushing you back. You know, it is difficult. And so what ends up happening is, you know, Nicky pops that knee out and starts threatening to pass. So Victor Hugo makes that decision to open up the guard, which I quite like. And then Nicky Rod's doing this really good job of pummeling that priority leg out of the way. But this positioning and posturing from Victor is, frankly, something that a lot of my students and so on could learn from. The knees are tucked quite close to the chest, and the hands are doing work to start framing as well. Like an upside down beetle. And also look how far off the mats his shoulders are and his hips are. You know, if you're like a bowl and you use your legs and your hands like a little beetle, it's very difficult to start passing. Now, I like what Nicky Rod's doing here. He's got his inside hand controlling the knee, this other hand controlling the hip line. So he's controlling the hip and the knee, and he's trying to pass around the side and pummel straight in, you know. And that's a pretty good pass, you know. It's a pretty good pass. It's very difficult, but this positioning here sort of indicates to me that he won't be able to do it. And the weaves come in, and then Nicky squares back up. There's a wee bit of a scramble there for like the omoplata and such, but it's nothing really worth mentioning per se. It's just nice defense. So like Nicky tries to go around the other side, Victor just shuts it down by chomping the leg over the top. And now because Nicky still has his hand on the shin, he gets just to pull his hand straight out, and it's very difficult to start securing this because Victor is so far away from the hips, you know. Tries to maybe go for a little leg entanglement, knee bar type thing, but doesn't work, and then we just get back into this riding the J-line type idea. To me, this is a mistake from Nicky. He's so far away from the shoulders, and he shouldn't really be focusing on the shoulders, because his hand is reaching forwards. He had the right idea when he was controlling the hips. He should be trying to control the hips and control the priority knee, which is the bottom knee, so that he can get the knee cut in to control the hips, like a half guard, that sort of thing. Then he can start climbing the ladder up onto the shoulders. But he's so far away from the hips, controlling Hugo's hips with his own, he can't really be reaching. It's not going to do much. And he's trying to pressure in at the moment, but you see how he just ends up letting it go anyway in favor of the hips again, because he feels that it's not working. So he should just be controlling the hips to begin with, rather than messing around with the shoulders. And I know he might be a bit worried about this head control, but that's not doing that much. It's not doing that much at the moment. So there's just like a wee bit of a battle going on here for control over that priority knee. And this is pretty well what jiu-jitsu looks like at the high level. And you can see from this angle here, the battle is over this knee. This hand and this hand are fighting over control of this knee. So if Victor Hugo gets to draw that knee out and place this foot back up on the hip, the guard pass is done. More importantly, for example, if Hugo gets to jam the hand in, this leg will come over the shoulder, and now it's a triangle attempt. It's a huge battle now over this positioning here and the head going in on the chest. And Nicky can't actually put the head on the chest at the moment because of the other knee that we saw was in the way. But he should be trying to get on the hip line with his forearm, and just starting to control this knee as best he can. You see how that battle over that knee is going on. And yeah, did you notice that for a second there? The hand comes away from the knee, and then Nicky goes to control the wrist, and watch what happens. You ready? So he comes onto the knee, comes off the knee onto the wrist, straight away. Victor comes out and then starts threatening the omoplata, and Nicky has to back away. And that happened because he stopped controlling that inside knee, the priority leg. And again, this is just bad technique, reaching for the head. That's just terrible technique, and he should stop doing that. He's right on the sticky hooks. He's going to get lifted, and he's not controlling this. Grabbing out long and just trying to hold on with strength alone is frankly bad. You see how he almost gets lifted, but because of his wrestling, he keeps his hips very, very, very square, and that's what saves him a lot of the time. And so he gets away with doing bad decisions because of how good of balance he has. But he shouldn't be reaching when he's this low on the body. And we're back into that idea of controlling that priority leg. And again, he's not really controlling this. So I wouldn't be surprised if when, like at will, Victor can use that top knee to push him away, bring this bottom knee out and up to the hip, and then push him away for another attack or another go at sweeps, etc., etc., etc. You see how it works. And then Nicky just can't pass the guard, and Victor's doing a really good job of this guard work. And because Nicky's not controlling the hips, he's not actually putting that much pressure down through Victor. It's like a little bit, but it's not as much as you might think. It's not as much as you might think. It's not as much as what Gordon would be able to do. You know. And again, he's reaching for that head. He's reaching for that head at the very back, trying to pull Victor Hugo in. But you're not going to beat someone's deadlift. You know, they're leveraged back around the corner with their back, with your hand pulling in. It's just not going to happen. So he needs to be focused on using his left arm here to cup on top and drag that knee backwards as the right hand is controlling the hip. Then the head positioning here is not good either. He needs to have his head positioning, his forehead needs to be here on the chest. When this happens, he'll find himself having a lot more joy passing the guard, but I feel like he gets away with a lot of stuff just because of how athletic he is. And then when he's put in a position of actual technique as well as athleticism, he kind of falls apart. Like, for example, you see how he's put himself in a Kimura trap. If Victor Hugo was lucky, or Nicky Rod doesn't have the reaction time because he's tired, Victor Hugo's going to put his elbow over the top, overwrap it, jam all the way through, and start looking for like a Americana type attack. And yeah, exactly right. I love it when I'm fucking vindicated by good people doing exactly what I say they should do. I fucking love that, lads. Alright, so you see how the hands are being controlled. Nicky Rod is elongated out now. Hey, this knee is not where it should be. This leg is straight, not bent, so his hips aren't low. Victor Hugo's using his knee to push it away, and now he's going to get the foot on the hip straight away. And there we go. As soon as that happens, Nicky Rod has to retreat because he's left his arm too far forward, and so the elbow, so his arm was like this, right, and his hands over here, fingers, and thumb. As soon as that happens, he has to retreat because that elbow is being attacked and exposed by the hip and the knee. And so he's just like had poor body positioning this whole time. Right idea, wrong execution, like incorrect execution. Not even incorrect, sorry. Inaccurate execution is probably the best way to say. And it's just, it's costing him the pass, and it's costing him submission attempts. And like, as I often say, jiu-jitsu is a resource game, and strength and stamina is part of that resource, and you need to spend it wisely. And sometimes you need to spend a lot, sometimes you need to conserve. But every single time he gets pushed away, they're both spending energy. And the more tired you get, the more chance there is you're going to make a mistake. And the more chances you have to make a mistake, the more chances there is for the other person to capitalize and you lose. So he should be not doing this that you can see with his hand. He should be latched onto the hip. And it's obviously very difficult work for Victor Hugo, but they're not nearly at the end of their stamina. And then you see how all of a sudden it was a mistake by Nicky because he's quite tired now. That arm drag comes in, so he has to react even more. So watch it. The same thing happens again. Victor Hugo squares up, Nicky backs up, and he starts looking to stand up, but you can see how the arm drag's in place. And so, for example, if Victor was, 5% more energetic and wrestled up onto that arm drag and did a tackle, who knows what would have happened. You could end up on bottom very, very quickly. And I'm not saying that would happen here. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen here. But you don't want to be allowing chances like this. And what allows the chances like this is that incorrect body positioning. Very, very nice guard. Victor Hugo's trying to lift Rod up, but it's a bit difficult to do so with such a good balanced grappler. Like, wrestlers are always amazing at keeping their hips perfectly level, and it's very difficult to sweep them. And so you see how this is my favorite way to play a reverse De La Riva or a knee cut or head cross, whatever you want to call it. A reverse De La Riva position, like reinforcing the top foot with the second, because the classical way is put the foot on the hip, but that opens up a steamer locks and so on and so forth. This is very good work. What should theoretically be happening, though, this is the gi way to play this position, because when you hold on to the gi legs, like so, this top leg can swing in underneath, and then you hook on underneath the shin with your bottom foot. Then you lift and you use the collar or the sleeve to pinwheel them. So like this side comes down and through, this side goes up and over, as this top hand goes straight to aid with that up and over motion, and then they end up getting swept because you have the pant leg. The way that you play this position in no-gi is you actually swap the hands over, and this arm should be on the ankle. This hand should be hunting in to the far side to shut down cross faces and open up inversions for you. So it's a slight inaccuracy on Victor Hugo's part, but he plays gi more than no-gi, so it's an understandable inaccuracy. And then Nicky comes back into it quite nicely, but now we're back into controlling the hip and so on. I don't like what he did here, though, with this elbow. Watch. So he squares up really nicely. He clears the outside hook. He's very well squatting and balanced and all the rest of it. He gets this left hand in as he's posting, and then he braces it against the ribs when it should be a little bit lower, but the elbow's on the inside. Perfect positioning now, because now he can crunch the shoulder down to wrist and start splitting the knees apart. putting this knee on the inside for a knee cut while using his right hand to control the knee on the opposite side, on the bottom side. This is perfect positioning, and for some fucking reason he takes it out, and I don't know why. Maybe he felt a little bit of strain, but he allows a knee shield in the way in favor of still trying to go for that top shoulder when the knee shield is preventing his advance up the body. And so again, it's just poor decision making that's losing him this match. And it's just like it's very good defense by Victor Hugo, but I have a feeling like it's Nicky Rod that's in the driver's seat right now. And you know, like he's losing because he's getting in his own way with his decision making, not because Victor Hugo's outskilling him and he's forced to make those decisions. You know, he punches him in the face there a little bit. And you see how, yeah, like again, there's beautiful attacks by Victor Hugo. It's a bit hard to see what's going on. But you notice how, like, Nicky's trying to out-finesse and out-skill him on side to side. But because Hugo is so like a ball, and look how far off the ground his hips and shoulders are, it's really hard to beat that going around the outside of the running track when he's on the inside of the running track. And those little leg weaves and all the rest of it that he's doing, short, sharp leg weaves, just absolute mint. And so, like, trying to pass, like, what Nicky Rod was just doing is a difficult task. You see, yeah, and, like, he uses the hands on the shoulder. I'll try and pause it at the right point. Setting up the hands, and because he's like a ball and he's on his side really, really well, comes around the side and then uses the foot to square up. Because he's squaring up when Nicky tries to go back around the other side, he's not beating him to the punch because Victor can get on his other side and start doing short, sharp leg weaves to keep the guard in. And now this is a difficult position, and Nicky's trying to pummel in, like in, when he should be using this arm to control the hips, using the other arm to control the knee, and just go around the legs. But instead, he's trying to grab the head again for some fucking reason, and then almost gets swept because he's so far over the top. And because he's so far over the top, this time, because of that poor arm placement, he gets omoplated. And now it's a tighter omoplata than it was when he was fresh, and he has to start reacting in like a really scrambly way, burning a lot of energy. And then he gets threatened with knee bars, and actually very well could lose the match right now. And it's a very nice defense, but against someone that's a little bit more crisp technically, or like he makes 2% more of a mistake, he loses that match because of his body positioning. Watch all that again. He just loses the whole match if he's not careful here because of his bad decision to try and grab underneath the arm and grab the head. Right here. Look how far over the top. In order to sweep someone, you need your hips underneath the other person. And Nicky's just put his hips directly over the top of Victor's with sticky hooks in the way while trying to grab the head, while trying to grab the bottom of the arm. And so all that happens is he gets grabbed, lifted with an overhook, see the leg going in, and now he's starting to lose. You know, and he recovers it, but like it's a pretty dangerous position to be in, you know. In fact, this position is how we lost to Gordon Ryan in ADCC 2022. And manages to square up and manages to scramble out of it. But like, if you're relying on your physicality to win, it means you need to work on your body positioning and your decision making, as well as your technique potentially. But it definitely, like, this is just bad. I can't emphasize enough how not good this is. versus this hand on this hip, elbow on the inside of the thigh. You got to deal with this knee. What happens is he'll lengthen you out, and either this leg will come back to the hip, or as you get lengthened out, this leg comes over your arm and you get omoplated. This elbow, Victor's elbow, can chomp on your wrist. You get armbarred. You're putting yourself in a lot of danger with this body positioning right now, and it's just not good. It's just not good. And so, it's not even doing anything. There's not even like I'm doing this because it helps with. It's just bad. It's not doing fucking anything, except for there's all of the detriments and none of the rewards. He should just be doing this, what he's doing right now, the whole time if he's going to have his hand on the outside, and that will just be way better for him. No, I have a feeling like Nicky Rod gets away with this in training because he's so strong. Basically, this motion, grabbing on the head, is not what you need. You don't want that. It's not good. You lengthen yourself out. You stop controlling this priority knee. This leg's going to come back through in a second. You're not controlling the inside space. You're not passing the guard. But I reckon what happens is, because he's so fucking big, he just grabs people in training and goes vonk, and then they can't move. It's kind of like that, 7-year-old kid in the 4 to 7s that's always versing 4-year-olds, and he thinks he's top shit until he goes into the 7+ and ends up being the smallest out of the 10-year-olds. He's picking on people smaller than him, and he's getting away with this type of shit until he versus someone more skilled and just as big. And then he wonders why it doesn't work. And you see, he just can't pass the guard because he's not controlling the hips. If he controls that priority knee, the bottom one, the reason why it's the priority knee is because if that comes through onto the hip, the foot comes through onto the hip, you lose the whole pass. So you need to stop it from coming up the body so the foot goes on the hip. You need to control the priority, and you need to control the hip motion. The rest of it's secondary. He should have passed like 5-6 times by now, And you see how he keeps on reaching for the head, and it's just bad technique, bad decision making. It's not technique, it's decision making. Because technically, he's really, really good. His ability to perform a knee cut pass, the body lock pass, etc., 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 all world class. It's just at this level, decision making is what wins or loses matches. You see how he's still trying it, and it's just not working. I don't know why he likes this shoulder so much. I don't know why. I like what he's doing though with his knees together. Shut down the inversions, but it just feels like he's a bit stuck and he doesn't have the answer here. It's because he doesn't, and he ends up headbutting Victor's knee because he's trying to scramble pass, but he has the size, he has the strength to really slow it down and work on like a really nice finesse game. And if he just worked on body positioning, literally 2 inches difference at a time, he would end up quite comfortably the best on the planet. It's just he has this over-reliance on physicality and wrestling because of his background. And it's just disappointing to see because it's like, well, you're so close to greatness, but you're fucking blue belting me here. Blue balls of jiu-jitsu, right? He's blue belting me. Just making dumb blue belt decisions. I like what I'm seeing here by Victor. I really like this idea of the arm drag because you can start taking the back. It just doesn't have the butterfly hook in. So a half guard with a butterfly hook with an arm drag is absolutely killer. Now Nicky Rod starts getting on the inside space. Now that he's in a half guard and he's not got a knee shield to contend with, he starts grabbing onto the hips, which is the ironic part here, because now this is when he should, and he is actually, getting the head on the inside space, using the head to pummel the chin out of the way so that Victor goes flat. Then he can climb up the body with his chest and start getting underhooks and so on. But he, for some reason, lets it go in favor of a kneecap pass. Maybe he has PTSD from Gordon. Who knows? But he should stop reaching for the fucking arms. Oh. Now he's getting threatened with knee bars and back takes, but he gets away with it because he's slippery. In before greasing allegations. Yeah, nice. Now Victor starts to switch the grips. It's very, very nice guard play here. The idea is that he wants to crab sweep, but something that's really good from Nicky Rod is watch his hips in that exchange. Like, genuinely watch his hips. You see how they don't ever really tip? See how they're level the whole time? Still level. It's kind of level. Leveled again. Leveled again. Still level. Still level. It's still level. Level. And even with that back step, they remain level. And so it's really, really hard to sweep someone that doesn't sit down on their hip. And so that's the reason why Victor didn't get that particular sweep, is because Nicky's just so good at keeping his hips centered and square. And if you practice that in your own rolls, you'll be really happy with how hard it is to sweep you. Should also mention, hang on, what Victor was trying to do. So basically, he's using his feet on the hips to lift his own hips up and use that as the counter lever to shrimp to the opposite side as he pulls this foot with him. The idea being is that this heel goes that way, the knee comes this way, which causes the hip to sit down, which sits the whole body down, and then because you've shrimped to the other side, you're facing this way so you can scramble up and get on top. It's the idea. And you see how it just doesn't happen because Nicky's really good at keeping his legs and hips square. And so it was a whole big scramble. There's nothing more disheartening than versing wrestlers and gymnasts that are really good at keeping themselves square. It's very disheartening. So yeah, we're in this closed guard battle. It's difficult. Yeah, nice. So this allows Victor just a little bit of a breather almost with this overwrap because it's a strong grip, and so you can rely on the technique of the grip, the mechanics of the grip, to have like a little bit of a rest while he's on the inside space. But he can't go too long because Nicky's going to start pummeling his hands back on the inside. And I feel like out of the two of them, Victor's been working harder overall because it's more difficult to be on the bottom of a guard than it is on top, generally, if you're got good positioning. But maybe not in this case because Nicky's been trying to pull himself in the whole time. Nice armbar attempt. Oh, that's tight. That's tight. That was very, very, very crisp and clean. I like that. So it's a bit hard to see what's happening because flow grappling is amazing in its camera angles. Victor gets this body wrap, like a almost a double close guard, really, with his legs and his arms. And he what he's doing is he went in an overwrap because he felt that both of Nicky's hands were on the floor and separated from his body. So he's overwrapped with his right hand here, and he's starting to hunt the opposite shin with his left hand. And so what this allows, it allows the right leg, the left leg to do work. He holds the head down, starts attacking over the top for the arm, maybe in like a Rafael Lovato Jr. type deal where the right hand here is wrapped over the top, the left hand is basically, it's like basically a figure 4 on the arm, where you hold on to your own hand with the overwrap arm, and then you hold on to the top of the tricep with the top hand here. And that's a very strong, dominating grip. It's potentially what's going on. I think it is actually what's going on. And so now from here, he can start reaching over the top, and because he's breaking Nicky's posture down, it's difficult. And so Nicky tries to posture, and goes tall, but gets caught because of that grip we mentioned. And because he gets caught and it's stuck, there's friction involved, so it allows Victor to start locking this up. And because look how deep this arm is, he can start attacking this arm now, and he goes belly down and starts wrenching on it. And to be honest, if this was me, that looks like that's going to break his arm. Do you know what I mean? Very, very tight. And so Nicky spazzes out and gets out of it with a really nice forward roll escape. That looks like that hurt, you know. It looks also like Victor's quite disappointed with that, almost like he's defeated himself now mentally. Very nice blitz pass. Going for that arm drag again. Defending the inside space is amazing. So it looks like Nicky's on the inside space, but he's not really, because it's down here and his head's all the way up here. It's a long way to go, just because Victor pummeled in a side long to his face and he's using his bicep to shift the chin out the way. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. And I don't know why he persists in trying to grab the fucking head. It's not good, because you're exposing your elbows and everything when you're still on the legs, Nicky. Stop doing it. And now, because he understands it's not working, at least on a fundamental level, he tries to go back to the hips. But look, the foot's on the hip now. The guard pass is dead. So he has to come back to the ankle to push it down. He should be just controlling that priority knee the whole time. Tries to step through. But again, because he's on the outside of the running track, it's very difficult to secure someone. You don't have control over the hips first. And it looks to start getting into like a little bit of a headlock type position, like a guillotine. But the body positioning of Victor Hugo is just absolutely extraordinary. Like, look at how far away the elbow is from Nicky's body, and how far away from being squared his hips are. It's not happening. Yeah, it's just not happening. And so it looks like he's going to the back, but he's not really, because all that has to happen is a wee shrimp, as you see, you know, and then he's getting lifted again, and the guard pass is dead again. And so, like, it's an interesting match, but Nicky here is really blue belting me, like, a lot. And honestly, if he just had like, I don't know, 10% better decision making, he would have won. He would 100% have won this match by now. And I'm not sure why they reset it. It must be something to do with the 5 minutes left. Yep. Exactly what I said would happen, but again, because they're both tired. Firstly, just before I shit on Nicky again, amazing work for keeping himself level. You know, watch this. He doesn't drop the hips to either side. Posts on his hand. Legs go up. Oops. So it's very difficult now to start attacking it with your hands, especially when you're tired. It just does like a wee cartwheel. No, nothing here. Nothing here. Like the closest chance that Victor has is to latch onto this near side leg and start attacking the entanglement, but he's also tired, so he doesn't want to commit to it. And I think that he put most of everything he had left into that armbar attempt. And so again, it comes back to what I was saying with that resource management. They both had those 100 points of energy, and they're both chunking through it, and they don't have enough left for the rest of the match, you know, and they're making mistakes because of it. So, like, I believe that Victor wins this match at the end on decision, is what I seem to recall being told. But honestly, I would have favored Nicky to be the winner because he's more aggressive at the moment. Even with that armbar attempt, like, it was very close, but even with it, I would be favoring Nicky still, just because of how aggressive he's been and how active he's been trying to pass the guard. But he makes another mistake and almost gets heel hooked here. And so, yeah, but he scrambles past the guard. So I'd be favoring him a little bit, but you see, this type of position, like, he should be losing here now, basically. But he manages to scramble out of it, and Victor's so gassed that he doesn't have anything left for pummeling in on the heel quite aggressively, when he should be just pummeling now. So he should be really using that to lift, to hunt in, his leg to lift, to hunt in, and he's trying. But Nicky has a bigger gas tank, I think. And he tries, but he doesn't quite have it, and Nicky just starts to slip out straight away. Because of this, Victor tries to follow it. The leg pops out, rights itself. There's an opportunity now because Nicky's on the hips finally, and the legs aren't in the way for him just to spin around the outside. And now Victor's trying to get the nice. Victor's trying to get the frames in, but Nicky starts to look to get to mount, potentially too early. Yeah, potentially too early. And so from here, these frames are really nice, but like, Victor needs to go. Again, easier said than done when you're gassed. And Nicky pummels in to mount, but he should be doing like a Khabib wrap now. This leg should be smashing in underneath both, and he should be triangling his legs together so that this next part doesn't happen, where he just gets pushed off the top, and then he gets put back in guard, and that's the most disheartening thing when you're so close to greatness. But again, from that alone, I would be favoring Nicky again, even though there was like a heel hook attempt and armbar attempt. He defended them nicely, and he's still being more aggressive in terms of like opportunities, So if he manages to secure a mount, the match is pretty well over. I'm not sure why they stopped it. Maybe he's bleeding. Oh, skip. Back into it. And so I don't know what that was, but again, they're both really tired. But this is where technique is important, This is sorry guys. This is where technique is important, and he's doing like this really nice little pummel pass, and then finally almost gets the pass. Should just secure it, head down. He doesn't put his head down, and so he loses the pass attempt. He should just secure it, and take more time to secure it, and just pummel in. Like, that's right here. Yes, there's a risk of these hooks going into the back control, but he's using his head to push the hips down, and it's very hard to get that now. So you see how Victor starts to lose the whole thing. Yes, he's pushing up, but just sprawl out and then get ready to TP up and stack again. Head down again, and he loses it. And like, he should just be way more patient with what he's doing rather than trying to force the issues. Because that's how you win, full stop, but that's especially how you win at these high levels. And I would suggest that if he just gets his chest low, hugs onto the head now, yep, there you go. It's almost like you heard me, huh? And secures that pass, he should be winning this match. I would suggest that this is the winner, and it's very difficult. No, don't go for a headlock. It's very difficult to decide who wins, but at the moment, this right here from Victor is a critical blunder. Fortunately, Nicky's not very good, and makes a critical blunder of his own, So from this position, Oops, what have I done? Oh no. From this position, where are we at to? Yeah, from this position, Nicky allows this elbow to go tall. What he should be doing is connecting his hands together in like an S grip and dropping this elbow onto the chest as hard as he can. Because now if you look at it, he's in a rear naked position. And if he just extends his hands and uses his forearm as a crossface, not his bicep, he will win this match. Hands down. Sit his hips down on Victor's hips. Have his legs as bases. It doesn't matter if he gets caught in a half guard because that's first hook of back control. Slides the knee across the top. Tries to pull this shoulder forwards. Tries to use this elbow to flare the head. Rotating it to the side. And he will win. But he just allows this elbow to come to the top for some reason. And then goes for a headlock instead of being patient and fighting it. And then makes a blunder of his own. You know, it's a critical blunder from Victor Hugo there. And now this was a critical blunder from Nicky Rod, and now he's in danger of getting leg locked. So he has to back out, and then he has to try and pass the guard again. You know, and it's just disappointing. And they've got a minute and a bit left. Victor's trying to attack the feet, but Nicky's so flexy that it's just not working. And once again, attacking the shoulders, has to back out, and it's just it's almost aggravating to see at this high level, because this type of shit that Nicky's doing is literally blue belt level mistakes. Or like purple belt level mistakes. I would expect in my gym all of my purple belts to sometimes every so often, very nice toe hold attempt, but sometimes every so often reach for the shoulders too early. Not every fucking time they try and pass the guard. And it's disappointing to see these guys at the very, very, very top making such rookie errors over and over and over and over. When if he just didn't and latched onto the hips and focused on the hips and burning the energy first, he would win. Very nice toe hold attempt. Very nice spin out. Once again, beautiful body positioning by Victor Hugo. Really, really good. This knee shield up tall. This leg on the floor, on his side, crunched, arm underneath. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult to pass this guard. You know, finally latches onto the hips, control the priority knee, don't go forwards per se. So like he should be going forwards, but let me explain what I mean. Finally latches onto the hips, finally latches onto the knee. You should be smashing in on the inside space. Posture this outside leg up because your hands are doing the work stopping that knee. You don't need it. And now start using your head on the inside space to pummel Victor's arm out the way, head out the way. As soon as this happens, you start to win because you can start weaving this foot off the top of the leg and then circling your hips around the outside. All of a sudden you win. Instead, he just goes straight across the top rather than into the inside space. His head should be lower. And then, yes, he's starting to stack up, but he's going in the wrong direction. And then he focuses on the hand again. And he finally gets swept there. And I think that sweep might be what does it. Finally gets swept. Victor finally gets on top. And then this is what I was talking about in terms of like making mistakes when you're tired. So that poor body positioning is what costs him this match. And Victor gets into that reverse De La Riva, can re-guard straight away because of the lack of control over that priority knee. And then straight away gets tripped. He's off balance. Finally, the hip gets sat down. Finally, he gets sat down. Nicky gets sat down. Latches onto the leg and starts trying to attack a leg entanglement. But again, because they're so slippy, I didn't see what happened to get him out of that. But obviously some type of scramble. Now, I love that from Victor. He's got a guillotine attack in, Nicky that is. But like, you can see Victor's body position is so much better than Nicky's. His hands are doing a body wrap. His knees are doing the work controlling the knees. Now his head is just going up around the corner and makes the guillotine untenable. And he turns the corner, hand pops off, now he's on the back. And get on mount, get on mount, get on mount, get on mount, get on mount. Yes, good job. Keep hunting it. And you start, yes, good job. This is very clearly Victor winning this now. Oh, maybe not anymore. That's a difficult decision because he sat down off mount because there's 5 seconds left to go. But like if he just kept pummeling in, you know, like yes, Nicky's sitting up, but he just needs to keep on pummeling in as best as he can to try and keep that mount and not just hug on and sit down because he's tired. Beautiful example of how quickly you can start winning if you just have good body positioning and good ideas. Yeah. Pummels, steps up, gets the back. Nicky starts to roll. Victor should not really be hunting the back when he's this tired. This foot should be hooking in. And then what ends up happening is Nicky will just end up rolling into the bottom of mount with a double under. Instead, Victor goes for a rear naked choke before he's ready for it. You know, before he's ready for it. And ends up losing it. He should be able to feel that this is not going to be on. You know, he should be able to feel that. So this heel should go into the hip. He should take mount instead. But he does eventually, but ends up like not securing it with double unders and then ends up getting pummeled off the top because Nicky's so big, you know, so strong. And then that's the end of the match. And frankly, I'm disappointed. You know, it's like I can see why people were saying it was a bit boring. It's not because it was boring, lots happened in it. It's just because it was just a display of bad jiu-jitsu technique and body positioning. And it's just a bit disappointing to see from these boys. And so I would suggest, because of that very last bit, that Victor is now winning because he did the extra attacks, like the heel hook, the arm bar, the omoplata attack, and the toe hold attempt, I think, was Nicky Rod's. And then he managed to pass guard, take back, take mount briefly. You know. And so we'll just see who wins. Which is reasonable, I think. So well done to Victor Hugo for winning this match. Finally someone that Nicky Rod just can't bully into submission. I look forward to the rematch. Anyway, guys, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. It makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.